She was 74, strong, independent, and full of quiet pride. Every morning, Margaret walked her little dog down the same sunlit path, made her tea, and read the paper. Life felt predictable, peaceful, until one morning she said she felt a little off. That small phrase would change everything. Her right hand trembled, the teacup slipped, and her words froze in her throat. By the time her neighbor found her, the light in her eyes was open but silent. Doctors later called it a minor stroke, but there was nothing minor about what it took from her. Her confidence, her balance, and her belief that she was safe inside her own home. When I visited her, she whispered, "If only someone had told me what those little signs meant." That sentence haunted me for years, because it wasn't weakness or fate that hurt her. It was misinformation. I'm Dr. Howard Tucker, a neurologist who has studied the human brain for more than 7 decades. And my friend, the late Dr. Shigaki Hinohara, taught me something that science often forgets. Aging doesn't mean decline. It means adaptation. Today, I want to talk directly to you, especially if you're over 60, about something that quietly robs thousands of seniors every year. The hidden stroke myths that steal independence, not through sudden tragedy, but through quiet misunderstanding. You've heard the myths before, that strokes strike like lightning, that only high blood pressure causes them, that recovery ends after 6 months, or that once you've had one, your life will only go downhill. But the truth is far more powerful, far more hopeful, and it begins with one simple idea. The brain doesn't betray you. It speaks to you. And if you learn to listen, you can stop a stroke before it ever stops you. The first myth is that strokes come without warning, but that's rarely true. They whisper long before they shout. The body speaks first in small tremors, numbness in one hand, a droop on one side of the face, dizziness, a moment when words feel heavy or vision fades for seconds. Most people ignore these as tiredness or age, but these are not coincidences. They're the brain's early alarm system. Doctors call them mini-strokes or transient ischemic attacks. Think of them as the brain's dress rehearsal for a larger event. The American Stroke Association reports that nearly 1 in 3 people who experience a major stroke had a mini-stroke within the 90 days before it. The tragedy is that most people do nothing. They wait for it to pass, take an aspirin, and promise to rest. But the truth is, that passing symptom is the danger itself. It means a clot formed and dissolved, but the cause behind it, thick blood, inflammation, or narrowed arteries, is still present. Ignoring that signal is like ignoring the small tremors that come before an earthquake. Studies from Tokyo University show that seniors who respond to early warning signs within 24 hours have a 70% lower chance of permanent disability. That's not luck, that's awareness. The body doesn't fail you silently, it asks for help. But too many people don't understand the language of their own body. Once you learn to listen, everything changes. The second myth is that strokes only happen to those with high blood pressure. While pressure plays a big role, it's not the whole story. A stroke is not just about force, it's about flow. Imagine your blood vessels as garden hoses. Even with normal pressure, if the inside of the hose is coated with debris, the water slows down. In your body, that debris comes in the form of cholesterol, inflammation, or sticky platelets. Even when your blood pressure numbers look perfect, a clot can silently form and block a brain artery. Research published in the Journal of Neurology, Neurosurgery, and Psychiatry found that up to 25% of ischemic strokes in seniors occur with normal blood pressure. The hidden causes? Chronic dehydration, high blood sugar, and something called oxidative stress, the slow corrosion of your blood vessels from inside. I once treated a man who had a stroke after a long summer walk. His blood pressure was perfect, but his body was severely dehydrated. His blood had literally thickened. Water would have saved him. That's why hydration, movement, and balanced sugar matter as much as any medicine. Your blood must flow like a calm river, not a congested stream. Many seniors think diabetes only hurts the heart, but it's actually a vascular disease that wounds the inner walls of your arteries. Those microscopic injuries become magnets for clots. So, prevention isn't just about lowering numbers, it's about nurturing circulation. Feed your vessels with omega-3s, antioxidants, and hydration. Drink enough water, walk after meals, breathe deeply, manage stress. A calm vessel rarely bursts. Prevention isn't punishment, it's protection. Now, let's talk about the myth that recovery ends after 6 months. I've seen it destroy more hope than any disease ever could. The brain does not stop healing, it simply changes how it heals. In the beginning, recovery feels fast. Each week brings visible progress. Then it slows, and doctors sometimes say, "You've plateaued." But what that really means is that visible growth has turned into silent rewiring. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections, never expires. The brain doesn't age out of learning. It only slows when curiosity does. Harvard researchers have proven that even in their 70s and 80s, adults create new synapses when they perform repetitive, meaningful activities. That last word, meaningful, is crucial. The brain learns best when it cares. A man folding napkins with his granddaughter or painting landscapes with his shaky hand triggers more recovery than a dozen mechanical exercises. Emotion, purpose, and repetition, that's the holy trinity of brain repair. I remember an 81-year-old patient who could no longer button his shirt. We replaced frustration with purpose. Every morning he folded cloth napkins while humming his favorite song. 6 weeks later, he was dressing himself again. The combination of touch, rhythm, and joy reawakened his neurons. That's neuroplasticity in action. So never believe anyone who tells you healing has a deadline. The soil of the mind always responds to care. The garden may be slower to bloom, but it still blooms. The fourth myth is that stroke damage is only physical. That's perhaps the cruelest lie of all. The visible symptoms, paralysis, slurred speech, drooping face, are only part of the story. The invisible wounds cut deeper. Confusion, fear, irritability, sadness. These are the emotional aftershocks of a brain that's rewiring itself. Studies from Kyoto University show that nearly 40% of stroke survivors experience depression or emotional dysregulation within the first year, yet most aren't screened for it. Families often mistake that exhaustion for laziness, when in reality, it's the chemistry of recovery. The emotional brain heals through rhythm, light, sound, and kindness. Music is medicine. Conversation is therapy. Laughter is stimulation. A study from the University of Helsinki found that stroke patients who listened to their favorite music for just 1 hour a day improved their memory and mood twice as fast as those who didn't. Think about that. Music doubled recovery speed. Healing isn't only found in clinics. It's found in connection, in storytelling, in moments that reawaken joy. Hope itself is neurochemical. It releases dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, the brain's repair signals. When you believe in your recovery, your brain believes too. And finally, there's the myth that after 60, strokes are inevitable, that prevention is out of your hands. That belief steals more independence than any disease ever could. Yes, age increases risk, but it also increases wisdom. Seniors are the only group with decades of experience listening to their bodies. You already know how your body feels when it's off, when it's thirsty, when it's stressed. That awareness is your greatest tool. A 2023 meta-analysis from the Journal of the American Heart Association found that lifestyle-based stroke prevention, hydration, light exercise, balanced sleep, and steady nutrition reduces recurrence risk by nearly 60%, even in adults over 80. That's astonishing. You don't need extreme diets or rigid schedules, just rhythm. The body loves rhythm. Regular meals, gentle walks, steady sleep, calm breathing. When you create rhythm, your blood flows like music, and your risk drops dramatically. Prevention isn't about cutting everything out of your life. It's about adding the right things back in. Calm, hydration, laughter, sunlight, and motion. A short walk after dinner can stabilize blood sugar and improve circulation. A handful of walnuts, a few slices of avocado, a salmon dinner. These aren't luxuries. They're medicine disguised as meals. And sleep, the most underrated healer of all, is not a luxury but a necessity. Harvard studies show that adults who sleep less than 6 hours a night nearly double their risk of stroke recurrence. Sleep is how your brain clears inflammation. When you sleep deeply, your brain literally washes itself, clearing out toxins and microscopic debris. So prevention isn't about control, it's about cooperation. Working with your body, not against it. Margaret, the woman who began this story, taught me that lesson better than any textbook ever could. When I visited her 6 months after her mini-stroke, I expected sadness, fear, maybe even defeat. Instead, I found her in the kitchen, smiling through trembling hands as she taught her granddaughter how to bake. Her voice cracked, but her laughter didn't. She said, "I thought my story was over. Turns out, it was just a rewrite." That sentence became my life's work. Healing isn't about undoing time, it's about rewriting how time expresses itself through you. Every myth we've shattered today wasn't just a medical misunderstanding, it was emotional theft. Strokes come without warning. False. High blood pressure is the only cause. False. Recovery stops after 6 months. False. Damage is only physical. False. Prevention is out of your control. False. Each of these lies steals hope before healing can begin. Awareness is medicine. When you understand what's really happening in your body, fear turns into partnership. I often tell my patients that age is not a diagnosis. It's a library. And every page holds a lesson your body has learned to survive. Stroke prevention and recovery are simply new ways of reading those pages, with curiosity instead of fear, with patience instead of panic. I've treated people well into their 90s who rewired their speech, restored balance, even learned to write again, because they refused to accept the myth that healing has a deadline. The moment you start believing in possibility, your brain begins to respond. You are never too old, too weak, or too late to rewrite your own story. Your body is still listening. Your brain is still learning. Your cells are still waiting for your signal of hope. So give it that signal today. Drink the water, take the walk, listen to the song, and when you wake up tomorrow, thank your mind for another chance to rewire itself. Independence isn't lost with age, it's rebuilt through awareness, one signal, one belief, one day at a time. If this message sparked awareness in you, don't let it fade. Subscribe to The Inner Spark, share this video with someone you care about, and keep your light of wisdom glowing every day.